How y'all doing today? It's Shelia Edwards here in this Boozin Food Kitchen, and I'm so glad to see you. I hope your day is off to a great start. I hope you found a way to make it peak, or it's on its way to peaking. Okay? Well, today, what we're going to do in this kitchen is, if you have any leftover mashed potatoes from the dinner this weekend or yesterday, then this is the show for you, okay? So I didn't have any leftover mashed potatoes, but I had some potatoes that were in a bag that were probably gonna go bad if I didn't go on and get around to them. So I got around to them today. So I'm gonna take you through the steps when I peeled my potatoes and diced them and got them all ready for this dish that we're going to be cooking. We're gonna be frying potatoes today. Yes, we're gonna put a little chicken in those potatoes, a little cheese and some onions and good stuff, and pat them out into a little flat ball or so and get them fried up. But one thing I want you to remember with this particular dish, your potatoes have to be cold potatoes. You cannot do them at room temperature and then put them in that oil and try to fry them. They need to be cold. Okay, I cannot express that enough. So if you got leftover potatoes, great. If you're cooking them today for this particular dish, go ahead and mash them up and get them all together and sit them in the refrigerator for about 3 or 4 hours until they are completely cooled, and then you're ready to fry them up. So let's look through the pictures of what it took me to get to the point of my cold potatoes, and then we'll be on the counter getting them together so we can get them on the stove and get them fried up, and we'll be eating in no time, all right? We've cooked them and added a little salt to the water. And now they are drained. Now I'm mashing these potatoes up a little bit. This is just the straight potatoes after I've drained them. Now, I want to add just a little bit of my booze to them at this point. I'm adding, this is 2 tablespoons of vodka. I'm using this right here. Okay? Just 2 tablespoons. And then I want to add just a little bit of heavy whipping cream here. Hope you can see that. Okay, adding just a little bit of this, and this is what I'm adding is probably, this is less than a 4th cup, We do not want to create real runny potatoes, because we just getting these potatoes together so that we can really handle them when we get ready to form them into balls. And I'm not using a mixer because I don't want them to be too soft or too creamy. And generally we use leftover potatoes for this. So if you know that you're going to create this with your leftover potatoes, do not make the potatoes too soft and creamy, too soupy. You want a kind of a stiff potato. These are a little too stiff for me, so I'm gonna put just a little bit more of this cream in it. And I'm using heavy cream as opposed to my milk because I don't want them to become too soft. I want them to maintain a kind of thick consistency. And I usually drink that almond milk. The almond milk is a little thin, but if I were making it for dinner or something, I probably would use almond milk, but knowing that I'm going to make balls out of it, I would use a little bit less of it. So that came to about a 4th cup. Yeah, these potatoes are really strong. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add my cheese to these, and this is a 1/2 cup of cheese that I'm adding here, a 1/2 cup. Then I have a 1/4 cup of onions. They were frozen in the freezer. Some onions about to go bad, so I put those in here. Remove this. And this, I'm now adding a little bit of this cayenne pepper. The cayenne pepper, I usually eyeball it, but I'm gonna use, I'm gonna use about a 1/4 teaspoon, about a 1/4. So this is a 1/2 teaspoon I'm using, so I'm using about a 1/4 of that. We don't want it too spicy because this cayenne can kick up on you, you know. And I'm gonna stir this together. And then I want to put just this little bit of these parsley flakes in there. I just want it in there for color mainly. Anytime I'm cooking something that is real bright in color, like of course mashed potatoes or rice or macaroni, something like that that's real bright in color, I like to add something else to kind of be in contrast with that bright color. No, that's not enough. I want it to. And you know, parsley doesn't really add anything to the taste. It's really more decorative, or gives it a little look, a little contrasting look there. And if you feel that your potatoes are a little too strong or too thick for you to handle, you add a little bit more liquid, but not too much. Can you kind of see? Look at the consistency of mine. Can we see that? Just a little bit. See that? Okay. Okay. Now, this goes in the refrigerator because the potatoes need to be cool when you're handling them. They need to be completely cold, and they're gonna, when you're having them in your hand, handling them to make these balls, they're gonna soften just a little bit more just by the heat of your hand. But for now, we're gonna put them in the refrigerator to cool. And I'm gonna put them in the refrigerator for about 3 hours. You can do this overnight, this part right here, and let them sit overnight so you can make sure that they're cool for the next day to handle. So I'm gonna spread them out in my bowl a little bit so that can kind of help with the cooling of it. So it looks a little something like that. What I've done here is pretty much removed all the bones from a rotisserie chicken breast that I had here. Now what I want to do is just kind of cut this breast up. And I like using the rotisserie chicken breast because when they're cooking them in the stores, they have a lot of seasoning on them already. And that kind of cuts my prep time for making this particular dish. So I'm just gonna cut this breast up and put it in a bowl. So once my potatoes have kind of cooled a little bit, I'll be ready to add this chicken to it. And there goes another little bone. I'll kind of add this chicken to it, and we'll be ready to fry them up. Just kind of a rough dice. So we've got our potatoes all cooled down, and so now I have my chicken that I'm gonna now add to the potatoes. I did not want to add it to the potatoes while they were trying to cool down because I didn't want, you know, any of the fat that may have been on the chicken to interfere with the cooling process or whatever. But I just like to mix them separately once everything kind of cools off like I need it to. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mix them together so I can start making my balls, my potato, these chicken potato balls. So now everything is kind of well incorporated, moved around evenly. So now what I want to do is kind of score these a little bit, or kind of mark to get an idea of how many I'm going to get. So I'm kind of just marking off their firsts into fourths. So looks like I should get at least 8 or 9 out of here once I kind of score them or mark them how I kind of think they will come out. Over here in this bowl, I have 2 eggs that I've already beaten up here. I'm gonna use that to kind of roll my mixture in before I put it into the pancake crumbs that I have right here. I'm gonna put a few more in there. So we want to basically roll these into balls, get them into the egg mixture, and then into the panko. And a little trick that I kind of use here, I use this pan a little bit to kind of, because this mixture is very sticky, so I just spray a little Pam on my fingertips here to help me move it around. And I'm going to try to work with about 3 balls at a time, maybe, and not too big. About like so. About like that, right? Okay, I'm going to kind of dredge them into this egg mixture. Get it out, drain it as much as I can, put it into my panko. Get another one. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do about 3 at a time into the oil. So I just kind of do that, get them into your egg mixture, and then I just kind of sit them in the panko. And yeah. And I want them to be about this big, you see? Egg, drain, and panko. So now you see my hands are kind of messy there. So what I'm going to do now is use this hand, kind of roll them around, get them in that panko. Like that. And I've got my oil heating on the oven. On the stove rather. I'm talking the oven. Got my oil heating on the oven, and so I can be ready to kind of put these in there and just fry them up. And I'm using a small little pan there, so I'm only doing 3 at a time, because I kind of like to just monitor them. And when I have too many of them, and I've tried with many of them, I can't get it like I want it, or watch it like I want to watch it. There's my dryer in there going off. Okay, so these look good. Now I'm going to get these 3 into the oil, and then we'll continue this process until I have them all fried up. So we're ready to drop our potatoes into the hot oil, and I'm putting them onto that slotted spoon to lower them down into that oil. I'm turning up the heat up just a little bit on there. And they need to stay cold. Your potatoes need to be cold when you're ready to fry them. So my next 3 are in the refrigerator until these 3 have finished frying up. Okay. And we'll put the last one down. And these gonna fry up in about 3 minutes or so. And then we'll be ready to take them out. And I'll let you see when they brown and I'm ready to flip them. I can see the beautiful brown underneath the bottom forming. So that's the brown we want to see. Okay, now I'm going to use this fork to help me get them flipped over. Yeah. Flipped over. And we'll get these others flipped over here. There we go. Get our last one flipped over. And we'll just let them fry for about a minute on this side, and then they'll be ready to come out of the oil. Our potato balls have fried up into this beautiful brown. You see that beautiful brown? That's what we're wanting to achieve. So now I'm going to put them over here to drain. I get all 3 of them out. Because a bit too aggressive on that one, see? Beautiful. And we want them to drain, let them cool a little bit before you start to eat them, because they're really, really hot. See that? And there we go. A beautiful, beautiful potatoes. So look, y'all, we all done. We got our little fried potatoes here, and they are absolutely amazing. So you already know I done bit off several of them before I got around to this video. But look, y'all, I want you all to give these a try. Honey, I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Just look at this potato. Look at this. Doesn't that look like something that you want to have a little bite of? Yes. It is absolutely wonderful. I hope the camera focus for you, but sometimes this camera just don't do justice to this good food, okay? So look at here. I want you all to make sure that you give this a try, but aside from this, give me a try by hitting that subscribe button right down there. Subscribe to this channel so you can keep abreast of the Boozin food time it comes out, and it comes out on every Wednesday and Saturday in the afternoon. I enjoy doing this for you all, and I hope you all enjoy me doing it with you all. But right now, you know what I'm about to do. I'm about to get into enjoying some of this good old potato right here. Just look at that. Take a look. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, yes. This is everything. Everything, but make sure the potatoes are cold. I cannot express that enough. Or they're gonna start to come apart in the oil. Okay? And then you'll be fishing your potatoes out. Okay? So go ahead, try this recipe, and y'all have a good rest of your day, okay?